It's BattleBots time, baby. And for once in God knows how long, we finally got some controversy back on our hands. But this week, I feel like there's three somewhat, well, no, actually two controversial decisions, but there's like a third one I want to talk about. This is going to be my first episode talking about the first judge's decision I'm talking about. And then it's going to be part 2 and 3. For part 1, this is Bloodsport versus Gruff. And as always, I can't show any footage because, yeah, copyright. But, I'll basically say what happened in the fight. Spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't watched BattleBots. Season 10, episode 12. Episode 12. So, out of the gate, Bloodsport did a bit of damage to Gruff, but in like 30 seconds into the fight, Gruff managed to break one of the blades of Bloodsport because it ran its tri-blade, the one with like 3 bars instead of like 2. So it ran its tri-blade and lost one of its blades in the process. After that, you could call it Gruff's win. And Gruff did manage to push Bloodsport around a few times, but after I'd say 45 seconds of Gruff driving Bloodsport places, it kind of just had drive problems, and then Bloodsport drove it places. So, yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna score it like I always do. First off, let's start with damage. Damage, I'd say that is about, that one's a tough call because technically Bloodsport did more damage because Gruff had, like, weaker drive afterwards. It, like, couldn't drive around anymore. It couldn't do anything. Bloodsport could still do stuff, but, like, on a weapon level and, like, how it affected the fight, Gruff did more, so it's kind of hard to say. I'd say Gruff 3-2 damage, probably. Just because, Gruff did manage to do a bit of stuff during that fight. So 3-2 damage Gruff, but Bloodsport also did a bit to Gruff as well. So 3-2, not a big margin of how much Gruff won damage. Next, Control. Control is another tough one to say. I'm gonna say, well, here's the thing. Technically, well, not technically, Gruff did manage to push Bloodsport around a few times, but Bloodsport also managed to push Gruff around for the second half of the fight. So Gruff pushed around for the first half, Bloodsport pushed around for the second. Now, I'd say Bloodsport by 2-1, in my opinion, because it feels like Gruff had it feels like Gruff was only controlling the fight, some, like the first half, but not all the first half. Bloodsport was pushing Gruff around a lot for the second half. So that's 2-1 control, which is a total of, I think, 4-4? 4-4. Yeah, 4-4. Yeah, 4-4. So 4-4 in both of them, which all means it's all down to aggression. Which bot was more aggressive in the fight? Now, as the rules say, a bot with a primary functioning weapon should have more aggression. But let's throw that out the window for a bit and actually talk about what both bots did, because both bots did go after each other a lot in the fight. Now, Gruff was going after Bloodsport a bit of the time, like in the first half. It was going after it, and it was still kind of going after it, but it couldn't really go after it in the second fight. Because of this, Bloodsport was able to go after Gruff all the time. Gruff only did it for the first half. Bloodsport did it for all the time. So because of that, I'd have to say Bloodsport by 2-1, which means that Bloodsport would win by 6-5, which happened. This was a split decision, and 6-5 is split decision technically. So yeah, this is one of the fights that a lot of people were complaining about. I was a bit surprised to see Bloodsport's weapon get damaged that badly. I'm going to talk about Bloodsport for a bit, though, because I'm a little bit worried about Bloodsport. If you've watched Bounty Hunters, then Bloodsport has lost its weapon twice. And I think that's something that people are going to have to take note of when predicting the next 2 rounds of BattleBots until we get to the finale, because we have to predict the round of 16, which I have my predictions for that. And then after that, if Bloodsport does beat Tantrum, which I'm actually thinking it won't, I think Tantrum will pull off the upset for that. But I really think that people should take note of Bloodsport's problems. I do think that Bloodsport definitely needs to have some better armor, to just have some better stable, like, better reliable weaponry, because it did manage to take out Scorpios and Endgame, but when it fought its, well, yeah, that's a spoiler for Bounty 2, so don't watch if you haven't watched Bounty Hunters for beta. Bloodsport lost its weapon to Lockjaw also. So that's 2 bots that it lost its weapon to. And granted, those 2 bots are like bots that are more defensive than offensive. Tantrum is more of an offensive bot than a defensive bot. But if Sawblaze beats Witch Doctor and moves on to the quarterfinals, and if Bloodsport beats Tantrum, and I don't think it will, then I think Bloodsport's screwed if it fights Sawblaze, because Sawblaze is just basically a freaking brick. You can't really knock it out unless you're like a high-powered vertical spinner or a high-powered horizontal spinner. And Bloodsport is high-powered, but it also has some flaws in it. And one of the flaws is his weapon reliability, which Sawblaze can take advantage of. I do think Tantrum will beat Bloodsport, and I do think Witch Doctor will beat Sawblaze. But yeah, that's about it. See ya for part 2 and 3.